Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Alright guys, so we got a kangaroo market right now, going up, down, up, down. We've lost the daily 21 EMA 3 times now, and we've reclaimed it 3 times now as well. I'm just going to say at the very beginning of the video, I think the most likely scenario is we do head higher. We drift a little bit higher into end of week. We print this little bullish engulfing candlestick, and that is probably low that's going to hold. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm going to remind everyone we talked about, in the past few videos. I think we're probably, we're doing a whole lot of that. And over the coming weeks, guys, I will not be surprised if we just move, back and forth, guys. MAGS ETF. Guess what? You found buyers at 58.69, break and retest, and you're right back up. Yeah, I think we're probably just going to keep trading flat. That's what we're thinking, okay? And slash moving up. I do think that MAGS ETF there, it's getting ready for a big breakout to the upside, and it just means, guys, MAGS stocks as a whole, all right, Magnificent 7 stocks, Tesla, Google, Amazon, Apple, NVDA, these big guys, okay, Meta. They're going to be moving up, okay? I think Meta probably trades flat for the next month. But I'm going to point some things out in this video. But yeah, we're going to run through things pretty quick here just because we are in this kangaroo market right now. And I'm just going to say it's bullish until it's not. It's clear bulls are still in control. And there's that. On the upside, over here on SPY, you have 644.21, 646.19, 647.84, and 649.48. On the downside, we're talking 642.34, 639.66, 637.25, and 634.92. Over here on QQ, very similar look right over here. Okay, on the upside, you have 571.70, 575.03, 578, 579.84, 583.32. On the downside, 568.54. 566.06, 558.84. All right, I'm just going to point out IWM, guys, consolidating, break and retest, above moving averages here, not the worst look in the world. DIA found buyers for the second day in a row here off the 21 EMA, probably going to snap back from here. Again, not the worst look in the world. VIX over here, bearish engulfing candlestick on the day, probably going to see further downside tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's not going to go up and go down, guys. Doesn't mean that, you can see all of these have upper wicks, is what I'm getting at. So every single day on the market we're trading in, just realize, you get pullbacks and moves up every single day. It's not, maybe the daily candle looks like it's closing just in one direction, but on days like today, it's this crap all day, this back and forth over here. You did paint dry. That's what was happening today. And then boom, they pumped you last 30 minutes of the day there, and that's kind of how we got it yesterday as well. So just realize every single day you do have buyers and sellers, they both get their chance, okay? And that means the VIX is going to move up, VIX is going to move down all in one day. Bunch of chop. That's the market we got. That's what I'm getting at. But if you just take a step back, you can see that, everything as a whole is kind of pointing to further upside, even if we get this, these violent moves up and down like we've been getting here. But at the end of the day, buyers keep just reclaiming the 21 EMA here on both SPY and QQQ. SPY did it yesterday. I actually did not really close underneath it. And the QQQ today closed back above it. So, all right, it up. All right, that's it. That's the indices, guys. There you go. NVIDIA. All right, I'm still leaning towards what we talked about yesterday, which is something like this, and it's going to drive people nuts. You think this low is the low? I don't think the low is the low. I think we're going lower. There's that. All right, that's the NVIDIA. On the upside, you're watching 174.25. All right, and then on the downside, you're just watching yesterday's low, 167.22. Underneath there, 164.58, and then 160. Apple, guys, good news for Apple today. Good, the way better news for Google. But yeah, Apple's having itself quite a time over here. I think this is about to continue, and we are starting to move up to 250. That I do. Heavy volume on the day. All right, you broke out above 237.23. You got above that key level. You technically broke out above 235.12, retested it early on in the day. That's what I'm saying. Stocks like they like to go down and up. Okay, just because it's moving in one direction there does not mean it's not going to have its pullbacks. That happens on every single ticker there. All right, and Apple, guys, the buyers clearly showed everyone who's in charge by the end of the day. They pushed it right back up. All right, and now I'm just going to say we are on our way to 240 and then 241.37, above there 244.03 and then 250. That's what you got on Apple, but you know we're talking about at some point this is going to be breaking up here, and it was either going to happen this week or next week. That's Apple. Now it is. That's supporting that MAGS ETF, pushing up like it is right now. Tesla over here, guys, I still have the assumption that this is not going to take out last week's high this week. And I don't think it takes out 367.71 next week. Don't think we're going to start this move. I think Tesla's going to do some frustrating shit. I do. All right. I do. You know, imagine if this happens. We're moving up here. Okay. And then you get slammed. Okay. It's looking like it's going to go. But guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It took 6 whole weeks to actually get to, or 5 whole weeks to get to the week where you actually start an impulsive move. You know, out of this consolidation. I'm not, you have this going on over here, but I'm just pointing out, yeah, we printed, you know, this shooting star style candlestick last week. Yeah, most of these times we do not take out the high, and we do end up continuing lower the following week. I'm just pointing out Tesla is still in consolidation mode here, and we're going to know when it's in one of these impulsive moves here if it gets a gap up. We need the gap ups, okay? I know it gapped up today, but you can see clear as day, it breaks structure. It does it with gap ups, okay? And guess what? This move over here, it didn't have any of those. So we're going to be on the lookout, but I'm telling you, I don't think Tesla's going to be moving just yet. I really don't. Google, guys, all right? We are looking for this thing to top out next week. That we are. We're looking for it to start pulling back starting next week. But that doesn't mean we know how high it's going this week. No, we do not. No, we do not. And we do think it's going to go a little bit higher next week, but it's going to create a topping tail. But yeah, you guys can see the same thing I'm seeing. This thing absolutely exploded today. It's up almost 10%, up almost 20 points on the day. There you go. That looks easy. I personally exited my GOOG over here. I was looking at these guys. Oh, my sweet baby Jesus, they're even higher now. But yeah, early on around open, I sold my calls over here for $7. We got in around 3. We sold them at 7. The things, they go to like, you know, I'm not looking now, but yeah, early this morning they're at $2,100. Absolute insane moves over here on Google, and anybody who just held on to these things, it didn't matter what expiration you had. Yeah, your premium's just absolutely pumped today. I'm just telling you guys, I wouldn't be chasing this Google move. I would not. I would wait because I think it's going to be like all of these other big crazy gap ups we get, where they will fade. Doesn't mean you're gonna, you know, completely come back to the scene of the crime, but we are probably going to be putting in a local top, like I'm saying, next week, I think. All right, so I wouldn't be chasing the move, but yeah, congrats if you're making money off of Google over here. Insane over here. And yeah, right at the end of the day, they announced that Google's Gemini is going to be tested in Apple Siri for the new AI search feature. Something like that. It's not just going straight in there, but they are going to be testing it, which implies they're getting ready to put it in there if tests go well. So that's a good thing for Google. I don't know about Apple, but you know, same. I don't know. That's kind of crazy because Google has their own phone and Apple's, I don't know. They're just going to, what, eventually merge the two companies or what? They're going to, no, they're not going to do that. But I'm just pointing out, all right? Everybody already copied the look of the iPhone, okay? All the other companies did, the Googles, Samsungs. All right, they already did, but you know, now Apple wants Google stuff in their I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. But hey, all right, all the better to them. Meta, it still hasn't really started waking up, guys. You got to get above the 21 EMA. That's all I'm going to say. That's sitting around 750. We're going to say you got to get above 750. It's ultimately 760. You got to get back above, but that's where the 21 is. That's that. Microsoft also has to get above the 21. It's right around 510. All right, and AVGO, I mentioned it yesterday here. All right, guys, we do have earnings tomorrow after the bell, and I do think this is set up to rip, personally. And if it does give us a pullback here, I don't know how much this thing's going to be selling. I feel like if we get down to this weekly 21 EMA, that's going to get bought up pretty quick. And we might even have like a big Friday there. And that's a lot of Friday idea. Okay. If you see a move down here, you know, on Friday, maybe they run you up and we print a large lower wick and you get a move, you know, all the way 270 up to like 285, 291 day. There's a lot of Friday idea. If you see the gap down, 2 over here around the 21 EMA, 2 around right here, 265. There we go. Who knows? Who knows? All right. I got a few trade ideas, guys. And, you know, before we get into those, I'm just going to hit this button right here, because it's the lifesaver right here. I wish I had the cojones to throw, you know, 10 G's into this guy. I really do. Because if I did, okay, if I did, it would have been crazy shit. It would have been crazy shit. If we open up at 17 bucks, we're looking at like, you know, we're talking like maybe a 7-8x. That's cool. I got 60 of the 15 C's going. So that's cool. But yeah, like I said, no, I don't got the cojones to throw 10 G's into something that's going to go 0 here the next day. I think my soul would have been crushed if we just came down here after what happened today on Rocket Lab. Okay, you get the move up here. It's looking crazy. Bang. Short report. Bang. Biggest fade it's had in a very long time. In one day. Bang. There you go. But what happens over here? Sydney Sweeney saves the day, jumps in, saves the day, pumps the stock, pumps our stonk. And yeah, so that'll be cool. That'll be cool. But yeah, I'll hit this for you guys as well. That was easy. I know some of you guys definitely hopped on this bad boy with me. And yeah, guys, we have one sick ass base over here. I've been pointing out the last few videos. Congrats if you made money off this guy. You're going to open up with a pretty penny no matter what expiration you had tomorrow. But I'll just tell you, you open up at 17, the 15 Cs. They, yeah, you know, we took them from around 30 up to, they're going to open at 200 bucks. Let's see if we could push them. But hey, I'm just hoping you do end up opening up here. But I just thought I'd mention it. It's exploding the after hours. And guys, like I was talking about as well, it's not even just, this is the initial move. You can make some money with shorter dated options, I was pointing out. But for the swing, all right, I'm telling you, this move, as long as this was to go well, we start one of these larger moves here. And once we see the pullback, it's going to happen over the coming weeks. I don't know exactly when, but I imagine over the next month, we're going to stop going up and we're going to start pulling back. When we see that first initial pullback here, mean reversion, that's your buying opportunity. And then we could take it back and target the highs. Okay. But we'll be watching the weekly 9, weekly 21 over here, these opportunities over the coming months. For what I'm talking about right there, okay? Into tomorrow, I'm talking MCD. MCD into end of week, guys. This weekly candle is very likely going to be taking out 316.80. Get above there. We're talking, you might even shoot up to 320, okay? But I think this might be this might be a push that gets back up the highs. So yeah, anything can happen over here, but definitely heating up over here on the McDonald's. And I do think it's targeting all-time highs. I just don't think we're going to run to them right now. But I do think 316.80 does bring a decent move here, and we can get anywhere from 319 to 321.78 going. Okay, there's MCD. Should get that move into end of a week. It looks really nice. I'll just point out what happens on some of these previous breakouts. Oh, quick shoot up, $2.70. I'm just letting you guys know, weeklies, guys. That's a move up there. You're going 100 to 150%. There you go. Actually, we're going to say 100 to 200% because premiums have died down from when I was looking at them. But, you know, I'm just pointing out over here, this is what some of these previous breakouts, you know, do that first initial day. Doesn't mean they hold the move. You got to take your profits on them because this likes to do a whole bunch. All these tickers like Costco and Walmart over this, they don't typically just go straight up. They have these big stair steps constantly in either direction. But, you know, they bring a 2 to 3 point move over here. So that's why I'm saying around 320, I think we could hit if we are to get that breakout tomorrow, which is very likely. It's happening tomorrow or it's happening Friday. It's going to happen. MCD. Open. I still think this looks pretty clean over here. I still do. I like the 4-hour chart. I like it into end of week. But, you know, really, if you do close out with this bullish engulfing candlestick, you're either going to build some bullish consolidation out here and then push up over the coming weeks, or you will just push up, break, you know, 587 here, you know, next week, and then boom, you go. Or you go up into end of week here, which I'm thinking is the most probable scenario. you have a big day, you have your red day right there, you gapped up and you had your red day, we have your gap up, you have your red day, and then the next day is a 20% move. Oh, coincidence? I think not. Okay, we'll see if we get the same thing over here. I think we have a setup very similar to that. Okay, so we'll see if we get it going into end of week here, but it definitely looks pretty clean on open. I'm going to point out Rivian, guys. I'm not sure if it's going to pull back in the short term, but I am going to point out I do think this is starting a larger move. You had the big move up over 14.45 today. You did pull back decently off of the highs, about 50 cents. But I do think it is heading up here. And if it can get up here to 16 bucks, I think it is on its way. Sorry, I got the hiccups. I think it's on its way to 17.15 and above there 18.86. Here on the monthly chart, we could see this thing is getting ready to have a big move. It's getting really tight. And I think it might be starting. But we'll see what it wants to do over the coming sessions. What I do know is if it does continue pushing, all right, let's say it does get like 16.5. Okay, just expect that it will have this pullback here, pullback to the daily 21. Not sure where that's going to be at the time, 14.50, 15 bucks. And then it would likely have a second win. That's what it likes to do over here. I'm just pointing that out. It likes to have its pullback after the initial move. All right, and then it goes higher after the said pullback. Okay, but daily RSI is overbought. That's why I say that. All right, Rocket Lab, I'm just going to say, guys, it fell flat on its face today. I think it's going lower tomorrow. I think there is a solid shot that it will just kind of stay in here and recover next week. This was the last, similar looking candlestick over there after you were, pressed up against all-time highs. Pretty similar look to you. But at the same time, I'm just going to tell you, if you do end up, if this thing wants to sell and it takes out 38.26, it's coming back to 33.34, and that's the next big spot to be, taking this bad boy on here. But yeah, it got real ugly today, and it just kind of kept going. It happened quick at first, but it just kept going. It just kept flushing. It was over here, boing, it flush, and then no relief at all. No relief. So I'm just going to say, I do think this thing is going to continue selling. And if it does get a bounce, I don't think we're going to revisit here right away. If we do get a bounce next week, I also don't think it's going to take out the high, even when you did so over here, which that would be a miracle if that thing is just going to boom next week, print a big green candle, or somehow this week, boom, it pushed back up. I highly doubt it. Yeah, it's still probably just going to take the next week. So just realize that is the case. Okay. Last one I'm going to point out here is BABA. All right. BABA over here, guys, is just consolidating. I do think this is very likely going to be getting at least a little bit higher this week. If not, it turns into a big weekly candlestick. I'm really not sure. But, game plan here was on this initial move. I was waiting for the pullback to the 4-hour 9 EMA. That's typically what we see over here. I think this either will build out some consolidation going into next week and then make the move next week, or it does it, more likely scenario, it does it into the end of this week. We get another move up. All right, so BABA is what I'm watching for that. PDD, guys, we had $10 million come into the 10.3/121. See if I'm remembering correctly today. This thing is perking up quite nicely. It's looking stronger than BABA, at least on the day there. And I'm just going to say this looks real pretty. You didn't get the breakout above 133.33 last time around. You did in the after hours session, but all right, or it was pre-market over there, but you didn't intraday. I do think this is probably heading back up to 133.33, and if it can break above this time, then this is starting to move up to 150. All I know is, yeah, we got really nice flow here. We got a really pretty looking weekly chart. We got a really pretty looking daily chart over here. It's starting to heat back up. Got the daily close back above 123 today. And yeah, you have this you're going to run into right here. All right, up at 125.82 and then 129. But yeah, guys, get it up to 133.33. Break that bad boy, 150 plus. So this is definitely one to keep on your radar. A-Lab. I think this is only a matter of time until this starts pushing back up the highs. You got a little pennant going on here. I do think it's going to break to the upside. All right, you got something going on like that. You're right at the 21 EMA. I think this is likely just one of these guys over here before that next little leg up. All right, and that is A-Lab. Okay. All right, that's what I have for you guys today. ETHA, it is starting to turn back up. I figured it was only a matter of time until this thing does start going back up here. doesn't really make sense that Ethereum's not gonna, you know, it can pull back, but it would very likely just find buyers over here, which it is finding buyers around there. I do think we are going to continue seeing new highs over here on Ethereum. And if this thing reaches 5K, I do think this name right here might start popping back up. It did end up crapping the bed over here. All right, did not hold the 21 EMA, but I imagine if Ethereum does start heading back up and we do trade 5K there, that this is probably going to, you know, start getting a little squeeze action going there. So it's one to keep on your radar. It's not moving right now, but it can start moving. Okay. And that is what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please remember to leave a like. That's all I ask. I would appreciate it. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And other than that, guys, if you want to come trade with us, that link is down below. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace, guys. Peace.